and we were fighting a lot. It was just unbearable. My partner didn't want to pick up the phone anymore. I joined the course. After the first 2 weeks, that desire to talk opened up. I don't want to beg anymore. After 5 months, my partner proposed. We're getting ready for the wedding now.
In just a few weeks, Blanka went from a situation where her ex wouldn't even pick up her calls and flat out said there'd be nothing more between them to a situation where they're back together and things are going very well for them again. Listen to this story. How long were you together? What was the situation like between you? What was that relationship like?
Event. So we were together for 3 years, and the situation was such that those were 3 crazy years because it was a very intense relationship and we fought a lot. And basically, a lot of that anger built up unprocessed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the breakup happened when there was just so much of that anger, it was unbearable. After another fight, except this time it was for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No communication. My partner didn't want to pick up the phone anymore. I don't know. A line was crossed somewhere. So it was a situation where one side maybe stopped wanting to, I don't know, resolve the conflict or fight for it.
Okay. And when did the breakup happen? Do you remember?
It was
Roughly speaking.
back in November of last year. So November 2025. And that's when I came across this program, How to Get Your Ex Back. Admittedly, the title is very controversial
Uh-huh.
because I was afraid it was some, I don't know, magic pill for the problem or some kind of shortcut manipulation. Besides, there are so many of those ads that pop up, probably tracking your life. There are so many of those ads that just seem shallow to me and solutions that seem shallow. So I was afraid this was just another one of those. Then I read a bit more about it and watched the video.
Okay, great. Great. Okay, but let's go back to how you reacted to that breakup. What happened in the story after that?
Well, I just lay there for 2 weeks at first, devastated that my 3 years of life and effort and all those fights, that it was all for nothing. I also just felt defeated and lost because I came to the conclusion that everything in my life is working except for romantic relationships. That when it comes to my career, professional development, education, everything is okay. But I don't know, this is yet another relationship ending that I cared about deeply. And maybe I won't be able to build any romantic relationship, that something is wrong, something isn't working, that there are some patterns that I follow. And well, I mess up all the relationships that I have along the way. And the reaction was that I also asked, I begged my partner to come back, to pick up the phone. Well, from more of a victim mode, maybe. Well, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And what was the result of that? Like, did your partner even want to talk to you or not?
Well, after some time, he picked up the phone, explaining to me that, well, he doesn't want this union, doesn't want this relationship. He can't imagine it. Basically, he told me that I'm probably mentally ill and that he can't imagine life with such a person. And that all these arguments, that it's all too overwhelming and that it's over and just that was it. The call was cut off. Then I tried to call a second time. I'm smiling now because, well, because it's so silly to harass someone with calls like that. But I think I'm not the only person who has found themselves in that situation.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Totally normal. Mm-hmm.
So, but of course, while calling, some part of your brain clicks and you immediately think, well, I shouldn't be calling like this. The person on the other side has no desire to talk, but you don't know what to do. It's hard to believe that after 3 years, someone might not want to pick up the phone.
Right. Okay, and how long did that period last when you were trying on your own without our program, without anyone's help?
Briefly, because as I said, I actually came across this recording and this program very quickly, and honestly, it was kind of unexpected for me.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, I don't know, my phone's search history and what I was typing into the search engine back then somehow sent this program via the algorithm right away, and it appeared before my eyes. But also, even before that, I had been trying to change a lot in that relationship. And those were, let's say, smaller attempts. So I was still looking for some kind of solution. I had been in therapy before that. So I was looking for ways to improve my personal life and to improve my relationship life.
Yeah.
So I came across this program actually about 2 weeks after that situation with the phone, like I just mentioned. And it took me 3 days to decide whether or not I wanted to take part in it, whether I wanted to participate, whether I wanted to take this course.
Okay. And what was it that most convinced you to join?
What convinced me most was that you can have consultations with a specialist every day or as often as you want because you kind of lose your mind in a breakup. And I really needed that conversation, ideally with someone who's a specialist, a consultant, but also that mental support in that situation. And second, what really sold me was that it's not just a course on how to get your ex back, there's also a course on how to forget your ex.
Is it
And besides that, there are many other courses, like, for example, Peaceful Relationship or Relationship in Crisis, from what I remember. And that this program about getting your ex back is also very multidimensional.
right?
It's not just a quick fix. There's actually really a lot in there to go through. Honestly, I don't even know how many videos there are to watch in total, but it's definitely quite a lot. It's not it's not just some short button. Even during that one course on getting back a loved one, you can actually already learn quite a lot about relationship patterns. So, those are a few points. Most of all, the mental and psychological support, then the fact that besides that course, there are other courses in case you just want to grow and learn something about relationships in general. And also, if it doesn't work out, there's that reverse process of how to cope and how to forget. So I really liked how comprehensive the whole offer is.
Okay, great. I'm very glad to hear that. All right, let's get back to the story now. And tell me what happened once you joined our program.
Very much so. I remember that because I actually do. It's also very interesting and a bit. I work with breath work and I also do dance and yoga. But at the moment when I joined the course, I was so stressed out that I noticed I didn't know how to breathe. For 2 weeks, I was taking these breaths like as if I was gasping for air. So I realized that my body must be incredibly stressed, that I must be in some kind of survival mode because my breathing was so blocked. And somewhere after 2 weeks, that went away, which was also a psychosomatic signal for me that things were a bit better with me in general. And that's also the first, in my opinion, the first step that someone also has to start with themselves. And this course also talks about that this whole metamorphosis isn't just about us. I don't know, trying to mold the other person so they come back to us, but that it actually starts with changes on this side. And so, what happened? Actually, within the first 2 weeks, I noticed a change. After the first 2 weeks, this desire to talk opened up, but my approach to the conversation was completely different. I didn't want to beg anymore. I didn't. I already understood many things that had happened and why they happened. I also understood that I couldn't behave in this or that way, but it wasn't manipulation anymore. Like, I can't, so I won't, but rather, I just didn't want to behave that way anymore. There was, through understanding certain patterns that this course shows in a relationship, something in me unblocked, and I didn't want to beg anymore. Because I saw that it's not about someone winning, someone losing, or someone being worse, but some change. And I already knew that I didn't need that begging for the relationship to be good.
Okay, good. Okay, so after that break, the first contact after the break from your side, I take it, was already positive?
Yes. Okay, it was definitely a different kind of contact than the one I talked about before. There was no more begging, and there was a real conversation of sorts. And I saw that my partner also, after that conversation, had this. I could feel that there was surprise on the other side. We only communicated by phone, but yes, you could definitely feel it.
Exactly. Okay. Well, yeah, because basically your partner has to see that you've changed for him to want to do anything further. So it's great that it already started working here. Good. So tell me, what happened next after that first contact?
Well, just like it happens in this course, after some time, the ex partner also starts. Time works its magic, so you forget some of that anger, you forget those bad things, and then you start to probably remember the good things too, the ones you might miss. And on top of that, my change and the psychological support I got from a specialist meant that, well, I guess a sense of longing appeared on the other side. And interestingly, a question mark appeared within me as to whether I even want to go back.
Yeah, sure.
So that was a very drastic change. And after just the first month, I was asking myself if I even want to go back because I see for myself how many things there are to fix. And if I want to fix them, and that, well, it's not just me who's ruining this relationship, but that it's ours. Joint effort. But if I've started to understand so many things, then, well, am I able to do this with the other person who, for example, isn't interested in growth? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because we had more emotional problems than even logical ones in the relationship, meaning those constant arguments. And in an argument, well, two personalities clashed, but I somehow, through growth, through some therapies, sometimes in this conflict, we see that the other person might also need some support so as not to enter, well, I don't know. But anyway, I decided that it's probably like this. If I understand something and start reacting differently to certain situations, then the other person will also have to change. So we slowly got back into the relationship. But as I said, it was more with a question mark than with begging. It was completely like a roller coaster. It just flipped. And that worked even better on my partner when there was actually this uncertainty on my side.
Right. So you naturally became a challenge. He felt it and he started chasing you.
Yes, yes. Well, something like that. Although I have to say that at that moment of commitment, when my commitment also dropped, another argument broke out about the lack of commitment on my part,
Mhm.
which suddenly had to be put out. There were also a lot of those arguments about me changing or that uncertainty on the other side. Like, what happened? What's going on with you?
Okay, I understand. Right. Well, I understand that it wasn't exactly easy, but it's great that it went in a good direction. So Could you just summarize roughly when you got back together? How long did it take?
It took, let's say, it took after 2 weeks, there was this desire. I'll put it this way. We were separated for 2 weeks. My partner didn't want to talk. I started the course. After 2 weeks, he reached out. That conversation was positive. I felt that my partner was like, I don't know, intrigued by what was happening.
Uh-huh.
And that lasted maybe another week or two when there was this desire to get back together for my part. And then I'd say that the next 2 weeks were about making sure if we're definitely staying in this or if it's just a temporary return. And after those 2 weeks, well, we continued the relationship. And this relationship was immediately, it was a different story. Like this course, I kept going through the course because the course takes 3 months, at least to complete. I continued to have consultations with a specialist so I could continue to consult on this relationship and these things that are happening now after getting back together and work on it in a different way than just my automatic reactions and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How's it between you two now?
So, after what's very important, after 5 months, my partner proposed. It's just, I don't know if this opinion is not very positive. But yes, after 5 months, my partner proposed, even though we were still arguing, and we still argue. And now it's like, I'll say this. The biggest transformation that happened was actually my own transformation because I often look at things after this course from a completely different perspective than before. I'm not as nervous or as insecure during arguments. And this course also changed something in me so that often, even now, when we have a problem, when there's a big argument, I go onto the platform and go through those things again or one more time, reminding myself of various things. Now I kind of go into the courses that talk specifically about a crisis or a peaceful relationship. And it can be better or worse, but I have to say that what you've created is a very big support, not only for those who want to get their ex back, but also for those who are interested in general in how to manage a relationship or how to deal specifically with an argument, with a crisis, with passion in the relationship. Well, so things are good now. Yeah. We're kind of getting ready for a wedding. We run a business together, just like before. We fight less. When we do fight, those arguments look different. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. I'm very glad to hear that. Excellent. So generally, everything is on the right track for now.
I think so.
Okay, so I have one last question for you, Blanca. If, because someone is probably watching this review who's wondering whether to join our course or not, our program, tell me, what would you say to someone who's hesitating and wondering if it's really worth it?
I'd say that if you really care about the other person and if you know that this is it, then I think that if finances aren't holding you back, because that's also a question, then I think that it's worth it, that it's simply worth going through this course. Especially, I don't know what the price is now, but it seems to me that this money can be spent very quickly, especially during some kind of mental crisis on other stupid things. And here, this is real help. And regardless, I'll also say that I've heard about the effectiveness of this course, what it's like. It's convincing, but for me, it wasn't the most important thing at the time, I guess. But this course it's so multidimensional that no matter what the situation is, there will definitely be support, there will be help. And after this course, you'll find yourself in a completely different place with your ex or without your ex.
Woohoo. Okay. Great, great, Blanca, thanks. Thanks, great. This story turned out really well. Well, I think that this will be a very valuable review, so thank you very much.